Hello! These are your instructions on how to weave a hanging basket using the kit provided by Ty Bear Creations. You're going to open up the packet and find all of these different materials. Everything has a little different color on it. So you can go ahead and set them aside. Everything's pre-measured and ready for you. First, we're going to want to take those with the green tie, and we're going to want to open them up and stick them in some water so that they can start getting ready, getting softened up and ready to weave. See right there, got them in some water. Cold water, warm water, it doesn't really matter. They need maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 to get softened enough so that we can work with it. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our Easy Weave handle, and we're going to grab some some clothespins because those are easy to work with. Just make it nice and easy. So here's our handle. It has a little slot there on the bottom, and we're going to take our softened reed, and we're going to find which way is, we call it the wrong side. You're going to bend it up and down, and you'll see on one of the sides you'll have a lot of fibers that stick up through it. So you're going to want to find that area and make that your inside. I like to take and bend it down in half a little bit just to know where about halfway point is. And then you'll just put it right through the slot, put that little middle bend in the slot, and then we're going to go ahead and clip it with a clothespin. We're going to do 7 of those. Get 7 of those on there. Right here, still looking for the wrong side. That looks good. Give it a little twist, a little bend to find out where my middle is. Get it clipped up there to the middle. And we'll just jump through the rest of these while we get 7 on. We'll remove these clothespins after we start weaving a few rows, so you don't have to worry about trying to weave with the clothespins on. It's just to help us get through this quickly, to get it through it easily. And there's the 7th spoke, as they're called. I'm going to throw my weavers into the water and let those soak as well. So now I just want to take my spokes, these are called spokes, and try to get them about evened up. So the bottom is 14 inches wide. You're going to want to make sure that middle spoke is about in the 7. Now we're going to take a weaver and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find out which side is the good side, which side is the bad side. The bad side is the one that has the extra fibers in it. And while you have the clothespins on, it just makes it easier to just feed it through from a side. We're going to start with the end or beginning right there on the outside of a spoke. Let's just run that weaver right through, and it'll be every other. So under, over, under, over, under, over. Start the bottom, start with the bottom on the outside as we did, the outside of the handle as we did here. Pull it down as you go through it. Sometimes you're going to have stray hairs, as we call them. Just clip them off as you go. At the end, when you're done with your basket, you can always take and burn them off with a lighter as well. Now here's where giving you a little bit extra material just to make sure that everybody weaves a little bit differently. So we're going to find out where we started our weave from, and we're going to want to go over that 4 spokes and tuck it in underneath. So we never see the beginning and we never see the end. So right here, it's a little long, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that. Cut it, and then go back. Yeah, it looks like it's going to fit, so just wove it right through so you don't see it. Now the easiest thing to do is flip it around. You always want to start your weaving on a different side, just so it doesn't bulk up in one area. It just makes it much easier to do. So I always like to flip it as soon as I finish it. Finish that side. And here we are again, starting in the middle. But if you noticed under the handle, we're going to start weaving from the inside because every row is going to be different. So you're going to you're going to weave in and out, in and out. Very good. Just get that tucked down in there. I like to take one finger and hold it against the handle on the inside to make sure that I don't pull that weaver too tight. So see, it's going down in there, and I have one finger sticking down against the handle to make sure it's all in there correctly, not too tight. While you're doing this, your spokes, which are the first things that you put in, are going to move around. Just continue to move them. A lot of people like to measure and like to have a mark on the handle itself, on the base of the handle itself. Yeah, I like to just wing it and go through it. Use a measuring tape as we get towards the end. So here I have probably an inch or two left, an inch or two that's too big, so had to cut that off, get that woven in there. Now we're gonna weave 6 rows of this color here. The kit that we have today is for one that has a smoke color in the middle, so it makes a little chain. Right here I was just checking where the spokes are laying and trying to even them up. All right, spin that around again. Let's go fast. Let's do 6 rows of this total. Now you never want to continue, you never want to start your row on the same row that you started previously. So you move over 2 spokes so that you don't bulk up in one area. And just keep weaving till you get 6 rows. Time to take the clips off because there's plenty in there to hold the reed. So I just took the smoke color and have that sitting in the water while I'm continuing to weave the rest of the natural color. This is the natural color that we're weaving right now. It's a little different when you don't have clips on it. You weave with a weaver and just kind of weave it in and out, up through the top. Now we're going to start our smoke color. It can be any color. Smoke is another variation of reed that's quite common to get, and that's what this kit is. You can also take the natural colored reed and you can stain it with, you know, any color that you can find. RIT dyes even work. It makes it a little more brittle to work with. I tend to use smoke mostly, and you're going to weave it the same way as we did for the others, for the other naturals, but this just gives it a little bit of a pop, makes the basket a little more fancy. So as you can see, I'm taking the weaver and I'm weaving the weaver in and around through the spokes, in and around, in and around. We'll do that for 3 rows. We're still weaving it the same way that we wove the others. Still cutting it like that. And you hide the ends, so all the ends are hidden. There we go. Just take a moment to straighten up the spokes. And continue on as we were doing. Nice. See, using the smoke there for three rows, give it a little chain effect, as we call it. Now we'll weave 6 more naturals. It's a nice relaxing way to spend an afternoon by weaving. Normally the tools that I use are basket weaving tools. So I have a special little pair of scissors, and I have a little hook that I move, that I can use to help move some of the reed in and out when it gets a little tight. But for this purposes of this kit, I wanted to show you can just use any tools that you have around your house. Regular pair of scissors. We'll use our fingernails. Might even use just the edge of a pair of scissors. So here I'm just checking to make sure everything still looks good. Pull up my spokes if they are getting a little saggy and straighten up the weave to make sure everything looks good. As you notice, as I go around, I'm trying to pull the reed down as I go to get it all nice and tight. When you dampen, when these weavers get dampened, obviously they swell, and as it starts to dry, they get smaller. So you want to make sure you get them pushed down as much as possible. Now here we're going to do what's called tuck and cut. So we're going to tuck the tops over into the basket itself, and it's going to be every other one that we're going to be tucking in so that we can make sure everything stays in there. It's a little hard to see here. We'll give you a little bit better of an angle in a moment. But what I'm doing is I'm just taking that big long piece of reed that we have there, the big long spoke, and I'm pushing it down inside and just twisting it up to about the second row that's underneath. And I'll cut it on an angle, and then I'll reach in and I'll try to feed it through the 2 rows that are there just to make sure everything stays. So this will be a little bit better to show you right here. I'm cutting it on an angle. Now I'm gonna take and use my fingernail to get this up and under 2 rows of reed that's right there, 2 rows of our weavers. Usually I use a little basket weaver's hook for this, but you can use fingernails. You can use a flat chopstick, whatever you have on hand to help you. So you don't need to buy the special tools. So this is going to be every other one that we weave down in there, and then we'll cut off every other one. So that's what we're doing here. All right, we'll just go fast here just to get some of this done. It's not as intimidating as you might think. It's pretty simple. Any kind of mistakes that you think you might have made on the basket are usually very easy to fix. This is a good beginner-ish basket to do because it has the easy weave handle on it. You can make it as fancy or not fancy as you want. I love weaving these baskets because they serve a multitude of purposes. You can hang them on a wall and keep your mail in them. You can put them on your front door and have different flower arrangements throughout every season. They're just very versatile. I just really like them. I have several around my house. All right, now let's just take a look here. That's all done. We've just gone and done our tucking and our cutting. Just checking in the front to make sure everything is looking good. Yeah, everything looks evenly spaced. Some of them that I had to cut off, I cut a little too long. So I'm just going around and making sure that's cut a little lower. Now these here in the purple tie, those are our rim. That will be the rim. Gonna go ahead and stick that down in the water. You could have put it in the water a little bit ahead of time. Good. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and take our lashing in the yellow there. That's called our lashing. I'm throwing that in the water as well. The lashing does need a little extra time to get wet. It's a little harder to work with, so I like to leave that in a little longer. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the rim and there's two pieces. One is longer than the other, so I'm going to take the shorter one and I'm going to go ahead and stick that inside the basket. I'm going to take the bad side, as we call it, and stick it around in the basket. The bad side will be towards the basket itself, so you'll see the good side on the inside. Good. Now I did that. Now I'm taking the bigger piece and I'm going to stick it around the outside. I like to use our clothespins here as well, just to hold it around there. This is going to be the rim to our basket. This takes a little bit of finessing, but it's still very easy. I like to give it a little angle cut at about the same distance from the inside and the outside, just to make it a little more fancy. Throw some clothespins in there. Now you also have in your kit some pieces of seagrass. So you're going to grab those pieces of seagrass and we're going to stick it down in between the two pieces of the rim, just so that you don't see the tuck and cut areas. We're going to cover them with this seagrass. And you just put it in there. It's cut a little too long, so you can go ahead and cut it off where you think it's going to be, where it should be. Sometimes I'll use a bunch of clothespins on here, so I'll go ahead and add some clothespins while I add my seagrass. Nice. This is what it looks like from up there. Good. See how it just covers it so nicely so you don't see the pieces that you cut off. You don't see the raw ends. It gives it a little fancier appearance. Fabulous. Now let's grab this lashing. The lashing should be nice and soaking wet right now, which is great. We're going to take and start the lashing. I like to start on the left-hand side of the basket itself, the left-hand side facing me. And you go up through the inside of the basket, go up through where where the rim is. Pull the seagrass out of the way and then pop the seagrass right back down. Now let's take that lashing and go all the way down to the bottom and let's feed it through. We're gonna feed it through the space in the reed that's next to where we just put it in. Sometimes it's a little tight. I usually use my weaver's paddle here, but show you if you don't have one. You don't need the special tools. You can use your scissors carefully. So don't stab yourself. Use your scissors carefully, or use a fingernail or a flat chopstick, whatever. Maybe even a seafood pick. Those help very well. And I'm gonna feed it through there and pull it through the middle. Very good. Make sure it gets nice and flat when you do that. Nice. Okay, now let's do that again. Your seagrass is going to be a little bit of a pain. It'll pop up, but that's okay. It's not going anywhere. All right, let's pull that lashing back through the front. You want to make sure you lay it flat so it goes in there without a twist in it. That's what we're doing here. Going to the second, to the next space. Excellent. Pull it through. And we're gonna go ahead and do this all the way around the basket. Generally, you either do one weave all the way around the basket, or you can do a double weave, which comes out like an X. So it's an X weave that you can do all the way around the basket. Depends on which basket I'm making. Whatever style that you're doing, you can either do the single or the double. It's however you feel, however the basket feels to you. Sometimes the basket feels a little fancier, like it wants to be a little fancier, so I'll do an X weave. Other times the basket will feel more primitive to me. So when it's feeling that way, I'll just do the single weave. And that's it. You're just going around, through, around and through. As you're going, just try to move the rim around, make sure everything's all nice and tight around there. Good. We're still going through it. Now, if your reed starts to dry out, you might want to take and stick it back in the water for a little while like this. You can just put your whole basket in the water if you wanted to. Or you can take a spray bottle with water and spray everything down well. You always want to make sure that with whatever you're working with, it's nice and pliable, it's nice and wet. Now we're right back to where we started the weave. So here, we're going to finish the single weave. And I realized, I want to do a double weave. So I want to do the X weave. So we're going to go ahead and go backwards. First, I'm just going to give it a little straighten. Give all of our lashing weaves a straighten there. As you may have noticed, one of the weaves broke right there. One of the lashing weaves broke right there. We'll fix that at the end, right there. And that's fine, that happens. While you're weaving anything, things can break. It's not a big deal, very easily fixed. This right here, I'll show you afterwards. I was actually able to fix it by tucking it at the end. But a lot of times you can use super glue, just super glue it in there, or do a tuck, which I was able to do in here afterwards. But I'm still going through and I'm just going backwards now, just reversing my weave. Now the way you weave, a lot of times people could tell if you're right-handed or left-handed, believe it or not. I'm obviously right-handed, so my weave always tends to go from right to left. And then when I do a double lashing, I move to the left, and it's, as you could tell, it's a little bit different than when I weave from right to left. And a lot of basket weavers, longtime basket weavers, can tell if you're left-handed or right-handed when you weave all the rest of the weavers. Doesn't really matter, it's just how you like the basket. It doesn't make it better or worse. So, all right, we're just coming back around. Yes, I had to cut the rim a little bit shorter just because it looked a little odd where it was landing on the weaves, and that's fine. Now here I'm actually able to tuck the broken piece of the lashing. I can tuck it up around through where it had started, where it was broken. And I'm able to pull the longer piece that I have up and over it just to keep it firmly in place. And now here's the end where you finished the lashing. You're going to take and pull it through for your last time. And then you're going to take that piece and you're going to stick it back up through the basket and right back down through the middle so that we don't have any issues and it stays nice and strong. Because it was wet, once it dries, it'll be really, really good. At this point, I would usually use my weaver's paddle in order to get down through there. But as I said, I'm just showing you, you can do it with your bare hands as well. And there it comes back through. Excellent. We'll just give that a little cut right there and you'll never see it. And that's it. Just take a look at your basket, make any little cuts, any little feathers that you have, and just cut them off and you're done. There's your basket. Enjoy. I hope you liked it.